more in the subject line, like what it actually is? I know you like these kind of generic titles like Spiritual Life Bulletin, but
oh, the subject line. Oh, usually this one has to do with this. Usually the ones that come regarding the B'nai Mitzvah they come with the line, the subject line B'nai Mitzvah. Let me have a look.
He's suggesting you might add Mitzvah or something to it so we know which one it is. I think I did, but I didn't try to watch it yet.
I don't think there was one of that.
This one, yeah, this one, I'll send it to everybody again. This one said special program.
Right, and then you sent the link in that one afterwards in that same chain?
Yeah, exactly.
I only have one letter in that, just the announcement.
Okay, so I just sent it to everybody again.
So what I was suggesting, like, okay, this was special program, we might remember Mitzvah, but
yeah, exactly. You might probably remember Mitzvah, probably not going to remember the other.
So if you put,
yeah, I will do my best to be a little bit more. I'll do my best to be a little bit more transparent, shall we say? Okay, there's if you have Zoom on your screen, there's the YouTube link for the Mitzvah program. All right, great. So, oh, hello, Ellen.
Yes, I was with Rachel. I'm sorry, we didn't have time earlier.
That's just fine. I'm just glad that you're able to join us. I never know if you're going to be able to be here or not. So that's great. Right.
We'll
good. Right. All right. Good. So, the logistical questions that I have end up being kind of related to ritual questions because if people are going to be present for the service, then it is important to figure out what people want to do. So if you have already responded to the survey, I apologize for having to go through it, but I think it'll be worth it just to sort of think about, well, what are the, if you maybe had questions about what did some of these questions mean, it might be helpful to go through it, and we can get clarity on what I had in mind. So let me just pull this up. All right. Looks like, oh, Helen, we were able to do it. That's great. Okay. All right. So the question is basically, 6 people have responded, the other people have not. So the question is, who is going to plan to be there in person? Okay, so great. So maybe the better way to do it is to say that who's not going to be there in person. And at this point, I see that Sandy, and I'm assuming Sandy will not be there in person.
Right, I do my stuff right here from my chair for safety
That's great.
reasons, and all programs have to be accommodated.
Right, you know, and Ellen won't be there, but everyone else is planning to be there in person. All right, that's great.
Friday night I'll be there. Friday night in the community room.
Friday night is fine. That's great. All right, good. So that means we're going to have 10.
Question.
Yes. Ellen, could you push your camera down a little bit? We can only see the top half of your face. And so it would be great if I could see it. No, if it's uncomfortable, just maybe just while you're talking. Yeah.
Helen has said she would drive me to where the in-person people are, and
great.
If that is still an offing, yes. Would it be easier all around not to have to have people in 2 places?
No, it would be great if you can come, and Ellen and Sandy will not be there in person, and nor will be most of the people that are going to be. I'm hoping that we can make it so that each one of you can have one guest if you want, so the vast majority of your guests will be on Zoom also. So it's going to be a hybrid program. So either way that you prefer, Ellen, is completely fine.
Well, I would love to see where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so if it's possible, if it turns out not to be, as soon as I know that's the case, I'll let you know.
Great. It would be great to have you. Okay, good. Ann, go ahead.
Where is it going to be held? Thank you.
It'll be up in Skyline at 100 Center Street.
Okay.
And so if you've been on the Zoom services, most of the Saturday morning services that are at the Nesh are in Skyline. So that's the venue. So Ellen, you've actually seen this venue several times. It's a big room, and we have and so there'll be there's lots of room. And the one thing is if you're not, I think everyone at CCD is vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, then I would ask you not to come. The rule so far is that we continue to wear masks, right? We still are a vulnerable population. And so we still wear masks. And we will be, within reason, we'll be distanced. Obviously, when we're standing around the Torah, it's a little hard to make sure there's 6 feet between us, but we'll do our best.
What floor is it on?
Access the building. Will there be someone
we'll have
downstairs?
someone downstairs to let people in. Yeah, exactly.
Are there any stairs?
There are lots of stairs, Fred, but everything is on an elevator. So we have 3 elevators. If all 3 elevators go down, which I don't remember ever happening at the Nesh, but it has happened at one of our other buildings that both elevators were down, then we will obviously have to postpone.
What floor are you on?
It'll be on the 10th floor.
And when you come into the building, are there stairs?
There's a ramp.
Or do you come in flat?
Yeah, there's a ramp, Fred.
Oh,
there's stairs and a ramp from the front. If a ramp presents a problem, we can let you in through the back door where it's flat. The ground here is not level. So
no worries, Fred. It's a very accessible building.
Yeah, it's a very accessible building. Exactly. It's a lot like Fireman in that way.
Okay. No, the reason why yes, I have a walk.
Yeah, many of the people in this room use various extra technologies to help them walk. So we're all good. We're all good with that. All right, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So how many people are planning to take an aliyah?
What does that mean exactly?
An aliyah.
You can call it.
It's an aliyah.
So,
I plan to do an aliyah.
Thank you, Sandy. It's an aliyah in Yiddish inflected Hebrew. It's an aliyah in Sephardic inflected Hebrew.
I plan to do an aliyah.
Yeah, Heva. Okay, great. And Kent, do you want to do one? Yeah, great. Okay, and an aliyah is an Ann wants to do one. Okay. I'm assuming that everyone who's reading the Torah, which is Lori, Ann, and Heva, that they will each have one. I'm just taking that for granted.
I figured that's the one I will have. I don't want another one. Just the one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So Helen, you'd like one. Okay, and obviously you need to be in person to have an aliyah. Mayim would like one. Okay.
No, I'm not sure what it is, Rabbi Jim.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'll explain in just a minute.
And you wanted
Ellen Soro, do you know what an aliyah is?
It's something that you read from the Torah.
Very good. Okay, so that's right. So an aliyah, so the word aliyah has kind of two meanings. The first one is what Ellen just said, right, which is the portion of the Torah portion each week is divided into 7 pieces, and each one of those pieces is called an aliyah. An aliyah is also the honor that a person has when they go up to the Torah and they chant a blessing beforehand, and then they chant a blessing afterwards. And so the reason that I need to know how many people want aliyahs is because there are a grand total of 8 aliyot, we call them, 8 aliyot every service. So it might mean that we need to double up, where two people take one aliyah. Go ahead, Ann.
There's no aliyah on Friday night.
No aliyah on Friday night. Yeah.
I might want somebody to do the readings before and after the Torah when I do my portion, but I'd be willing to do it for one of the other portions. Oh,
okay. All right. So yeah. So all right. So we'll sort of the customary way, right? Is it's kind of funny. In a regular bar bat mitzvah, the way that it works is the bar bat mitzvah kid usually does what's called the maftir aliyah. It is the little piece of the Torah that we read before the haftarah. So there's 7 aliyot, right? Then there's a break, and in the worship and study minyan, right? That's where we put the mishaberach, the prayer for the sick, right? And then there's a maftir, and that's the little finish, like the little cap on top of the aliyah. On regular days, it's just the last 3 or 4 verses of the Torah portion we just read. On holidays and other special days, there may be a special maftir, right? That we read from a different scroll, right? And then that becomes followed by the haftarah blessings. So usually the bar bat mitzvah kid has the maftir aliyah.
Will we have a rehearsal before this?
Yes, we have to figure out a rehearsal. Probably the Friday before, the day before. We'll have the rehearsal.
And you mean,
Jim?
But then will they have a service in the community room if there's a rehearsal?
I'm sorry?
If there's a rehearsal on Friday, will it be in the afternoon?
Yes.
Because there's
in place of this class, yeah, exactly. And we might have to do it in the community room. We'll see if we can get up into Skyline, it'd be better. Yeah. Go ahead, Lori.
Far be it from me to control the logistics, but as you're handing out aliyot, can we include something for Sherry Leffert?
Well, yeah. So I've offered to Sherry that she read an aliyah, and I will ask her if she wants an actual aliyah. But I feel like it's more important for the people in this room to have an aliyah first.
Okay, but so we'll be reading.
Rabbi Jim?
Yes, Ellen.
If I want to read from Zoom on Friday night, will that be all right?
Absolutely. Hopefully you'll be there. You'll be at the service in person on Friday night, and you can read. Okay?
But
Ellen, let's focus right.
When will the rehearsal?
It'll be Friday afternoon, not Friday night. Friday afternoon. So
the rehearsal is Friday afternoon.
So Ellen, let's worry about the Saturday. Not Friday evening. Right, exactly. Ellen, let me focus on the Saturday morning right now. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ellen, and then Maya.
Thank you. What I was thinking is, if you need more aliyah space, I don't know how many of the younger people coming in as candidates. What about, can you have someone do the English as an aliyah?
I'm not sure what you mean. You mean instead of chanting the Hebrew blessing, you would say those blessings in English?
No, I assumed that the aliyahs will be in Hebrew, but if you need to have more of them, then you have.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, I think it's a great suggestion. I hadn't thought of it. What strikes me is that we're going to be very pressed for time anyway. So what I'm trying to do is not increase the number of aliyot. I'd rather have people go up with a partner, which has the added benefit of if someone is not fully comfortable with the Hebrew blessing, right? We would try to make it so the person who's not comfortable goes up with someone who is comfortable, and that way there can be a mutual support, so to speak. Yeah. All right. So, Fred, would you like to have an aliyah?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, great. Okay. Sandy will not because she's not going to be there. Ellen Sarow, what do you think?
I can't do it in Hebrew.
I'd be happy to have Ellen come up with me.
Great.
Is that okay?
Can I ask you? Can I ask you something? You on the Hebrew? Do you have the cards there? There's like the transliteration in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yes, and also what I was planning to do, if we have time for it today, we'll start it today. If we don't, then we can start it next week. Was also just as a class, chanting them together so everyone has an idea of what it sounds like in their head. It might be something that you've heard several times, but never sort of made it active. So that's kind of the goal here. Maya, please.
Is there a place I can look in Lev Shalom to see where those are and what they are?
Yes. Page 172, I want to say. 172, 173. Yeah.
And if you need more people, I think I'm willing, depending on what I see here. But you also were asking if somebody wants to read part of the service in English.
1 second.
So I would certainly be willing to do that, but just depending on how complicated these are, I could probably do one.
Right. They're go ahead, Helen.
In the format of what you want to go over today, one of the things is, can you read in English? And I saw that.
There. I'm to the rabbi.
Yes, definitely reading part of the service in English is definitely a possibility. I'm happy. We can go through these. We can go through these later during the Hebrew little lesson at 2 also. Go ahead, Helen Jacobson, you're muted.
I just wanted to say I just finished the survey with Rachel. She was going to give you my answers, but just to tell you, I'm willing to do any of the above, the aliyah, the reading in English, a prayer, whatever. So whatever you need. Okay?
Lovely. That's fabulous. And, I mean, basically, maybe I should have started with this, right? Which is that, my goal for this event is for people to be able to feel comfortable doing what they would find meaningful. There's no sort of obligation to do any of this, and there's also there's no necessarily any limit. So now, but the next question is, how many people are planning to say a few words, either about the Torah portion or about their journey in the course of the thing?
I was going to say that as part of the Devar Torah, I was going to talk about that, but I didn't know. I didn't know if very briefly, but I mean, I didn't know there was a separate time or whatever, because How did you envision it, is my question.
Well, what I've been thinking about and I'm going to talk with Rachel in more detail about this on Monday, but the way I've been thinking about it is that if people want to share sort of 2-minute reflections, first of all, there's the Devar Torah. And I know that Rachel's been working with several of you on sort of Divrei Torah type of thing. So I'm trying to get a sense of how many people are actually going to hold forth about the Torah to figure out if we would put everybody in one block, so to speak, sort of like after we've read the Torah, we'll have the Devar Torah, right? Or would we do it where we kind of, there's enough of them, right? Enough people talking about that we don't necessarily want to string 3 people together, right? And we'll put maybe one before the Torah reading, one between the Haftarah and the Torah and the Haftarah, and the other one at the end, right? So again, depending on how many people are doing it. So how many people are actually planning to talk about the Torah portion? Korach. Is it just Ellen? Oh, Mayim. You're planning to, Mayim?
Well, mine wouldn't be the Torah portion. I'm going to do the Ashrei prayer.
Exactly.
And, I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed studying it and come to appreciate the poetry of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what we'll do for Ashrei is we will have, usually at the Worship Study Minyan, there is a large emphasis in the Worship Study Minyan. The Worship Study Minyan is a very interesting place because it is on one hand very traditional, sort of conservative. On the other hand, it's also very it has many streaks of reform. And one of the streaks of reform that it has is that it abhors repetition. And there's a lot of repetition in the Jewish service. One of those places of repetition is Ashrei. So Ashrei is said in the part of the beginning of the service as Pesukei de Zimra, and then it is said traditionally again after the Torah reading, before we put the Torah away. And I think the functional reason for that is that most people miss it when it's in the Pesukei de Zimra part. So they put it in right after the Torah portion because that's when most people have gotten to shul. It's also, and Mayim, it's very appropriate that you'll do it. Right? It's that second reading of Ashrei is generally done by a child in the congregation. It's an honor for someone who's learning to read Hebrew to be able to read Ashrei. So it's actually wonderful that we will do it there for this service, precisely because you are learning. You've learned Hebrew in order to do Ashrei, which is just amazing. So, all right.
Am I the most beginner here?
No, not at all. But you're the one that's willing to read Ashrei. So that's. Remember, Mani Shana is traditionally sung by the youngest person in the room, right? But the youngest person in the room has to be willing to read it. It goes both ways. It's not like, oh, you're the youngest, you have to do it, right? It's also like you're the youngest and you're willing to do it. All right. So Heba, with Rachel, have you been putting together a little Devar Torah?
To whom are you speaking?
Or you've been focusing on reading? You're muted, Heba. You're muted, Heba. You know that you're muted. You're on the phone with someone else.
No, I'm trying to unmute. I'm trying to.
Oh, you're trying to unmute. Okay. All right. Got it. You were talking, so I assumed you didn't know it.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. I was just.
That's okay.
No, I'm just. No, I'm not doing a Devar Torah.
Okay, great. And Anne, have you been planning a Devar?
I have not been planning a Devar.
Okay, great. So it looks like it's only Helen.
Get my Torah portion.
Right, you're working on your right. This is and Ellen Soro is doing it. That's right. Okay,
yes.
Great.
There's two of us who are still doing it.
Good deal. That's great. Okay, good. Perfect. And how many people would like to, is anyone besides Mayim like to read a prayer in Hebrew during the service?
In English, you mean?
No, in Hebrew. I'll ask about English in a minute. Yeah.
Are we going to be doing during the service the Kaddish?
Yes. Yes.
I would like to do the Kaddish.
The mourner's Kaddish or the mourner's Kaddish?
Yes.
All right.
Only because I am in mourning.
Okay. So we do the mourner's Kaddish twice. We do it at the beginning of the service and at the end. So you can lead both of them, Heather.
Isn't the beginning for Yahrzeit and the end for?
No, it's for all mourners. Yeah,
okay.
For all mourners. Yeah. Yeah.
The other option instead of that would be the Shema.
Okay.
But not the Vayahavta.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not there yet.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You're getting, you're getting there. Anybody else, or is that, which there's no pressure. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay, great. And then, yeah, let's do the reading part of it in English. Who would like to have a reading in English? Mayim, okay.
I would be available.
Great. Okay.
If we include the prayer for the country, I'd like to do that in English.
Oh, great.
And if we don't, that's okay.
No, we're definitely going to include the prayer for the country. We have it's a whole Torah service, so we definitely include the prayer for the country, the prayer for Israel, and the prayer for peace.
And I'll do the prayer for peace, either one.
I'll do the one for country or peace.
Okay, so and Anne would like to do country or peace. So we'll dole those out. Okay, right, perfect. We'll dole those out. Anyone else like to read something in English?
I'm available. That's all I'd say.
Great, thank you, Ellen.
Particular thing, but if you want it, I would do it with pleasure.
I can also.
Great, Helen. Good.
We
Wonderful.
are a dynamic duo.
Exactly. That's great. So Kent and Heather, you're both comfortable not doing something in English? Great. Okay. What do you think, Heather?
If you need me to do something in English, I'm available, but it's not necessary.
It's not feeling like a need. Okay.
Right.
Great. And Fred, I know you're reading the Haftarah in English. Do you feel like you would like to read something else in English?
Yeah, I'll do it if you want.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
I have 3 portions of the English Haftarah. Which one do I use?
That's a good question. I will, Fred. I will send you and Donna an email with clarification. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Because I don't know off the top. The answer is I don't know off the top of my head. So I have to go check it. I don't want to do that now. All right.
May I make one more suggestion?
Please, yeah.
I think I've got the word right. You need a gabbai. Please make it Susan.
Yes. Susan Brandt.
Yep.
Good. Yes.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let me see about that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Let me see, because that would require Susan to be willing to come on top of making it possible. In addition to making sure that we can, Ellen, we can consider her your guest. So I know. Yeah, go ahead, Helen Jacobson.
Just say, isn't Rachel going to be there?
Rachel will be there, and she has somehow, I guess because I'm generally reading the Torah, she has fallen into the role of Gabbai. But it would be nice for Rachel
we need someone else if
no, we don't. But it would be very nice. It would be nice for Rachel not to have to do it. So let's
see at it though.
Yeah.
She'll be a official rabbi by then.
Will Sherry be
she's
there?
She's gonna be an official rabbi in like 15 days. It's unbelievably cool. So.
Is Sherry going to be the second gabbai?
Yes, Sherry will be the second gabbai. Right, and so we could also have Jim Leffert be the gabbai, but it would be nice to have Susan. It would be nice to have Susan so that Jim doesn't have to worry about it.
Okay.
So, but that's a great suggestion.
So good at keeping.
Oh, she's a wonderful second gabbai. Yeah, she really is.
When she was.
All right, so.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lori.
Explaining what that is, this gabbai business for.
Oh yes, I apologize. So the gabbai is I forget the exact translation into English for gabbai, but functionally, what the gabbai does in the context of a service is that person is the one who calls people to the Torah for the various aliyot. And is sort of the MC of the Torah service. And traditionally, at least in worship and study, we have generally not had the rabbi be the gabbai, right? The gabbai is a different role, and it's a role for someone who's not the clergy person. So I actually don't. I think I've either been the gabbai at worship and study once or never, which means
you're always so busy doing other things, like
right. Well, exactly.
Rabbi,
yes, Ellen.
My picture isn't here, but I'm still here.
Ah,
great. Thanks for letting us know, Ellen. That's great. Go ahead, Ann.
We had a gabbai that followed along with the reading of the Torah in Portland. If anybody made a mistake, they were the corrector. I'd like to have Sherry do that for me.
Yes.
Sherry's going to do that for everybody. Sherry will do that for everybody. Yeah, because Sherry's very, very good at that. So yeah, that is called the gabbai sheni, which means the second gabbai. And so it's, in some respects, it's a more important role, right? Because the gabbai sheni is the person who makes sure that the Torah is read accurately. Because obviously reading from the scroll with no vowels and no trope marks, right, means that, people are human and we forget every once in a while. So it's good to have someone who can be there to give us a little bit of a clue. All right, go ahead, Mike.
So does this gabbai she'id, are they like a little bit of a prompter? Like if I forget my line?
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Really?
Exactly.
They do that? Oh, that's
well. They do that for the Torah reading. There is no prompter officially for people who are either leading the service or doing the haftarah. But if you were actually in Cambridge with the worship and study minyan, you would have half of the minyan would prompt you, and only a handful would judge you, but half of them would help you. But in this case, I'll be there, obviously, and Rachel will be there. So and Sherry will be there. So if you get stuck, Mayim, we will definitely support you. So no question.
So nice. That makes me feel so good about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this is actually really an important value in Jewish prayer, right? Is that it's one of the reasons that we are commanded to whenever possible pray in community, right? Because that way the person who's praying, who's leading the service, right, has the support of everybody in the room. And if they forget something, there's all these other people who can help them, right? And you'll notice, right, that rabbis do this all the time. We'll say, wait, did we do X, right? There was, Rachel and I were, the first time we did the Torah service after a year's break, we were helping each other, right? Remember what goes where, right? It's not a completely top-down model, even though very often in practice it turns into that, which is unfortunate because I think it's much nicer the other way. Go ahead, Ann.
Well, I'm thankful to have the photograph of my actual Torah portion, but it's very, very difficult to do because the lines are not all the same, and you don't have any vowels, and the words are run together sometimes. So I'm really stressed out about it.
Yeah, it can be very stressful, and the main thing to know, right, is that Sherry is there to prompt you, right? And if worse comes to worse, and you're really in a pickle, you'll just sing along with Sherry, and she has the text with everything in front of her, and she probably knows it by heart anyway. So you'll be in very good hands, and it'll be a completely judgment-free zone. So everyone wants you to succeed, and so my guess is that you will. Yeah, go ahead, Lloyd.
So logistically or speaking, can we bring up when we're reading from the Torah? Can we bring up our piece of paper that has the vowel and the trope marks that we've marked up with Sherry with pencil 100 times to like have on our side?
Yeah, have you ever noticed? I mean, technically, you're not supposed to look at it, but you may have noticed that, every once in a while, your rabbi goes up to the Torah with a humash or a tikkun. A tikkun is the
Michael Braverman does it all the time.
Right, exactly. And what, for Michael and me, those things are, at this point, primarily talismans, right? Or what's the word? It starts with an A. Amulet. Amulet. It's like an amulet. When you're actually reading from the Torah, it actually is very difficult to swing your eyes back and forth. You really need to keep your eyes.
I just want to know that it's there.
Bingo. That's what's really important. Right. So yes, you will absolutely bring that up with you. And very often what I need is just to know the first couple of words. Right? As long as I got the first couple of words, I can sort of get into it, and it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
reassuring. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I mean,
You're welcome.
carry it around all the time now, right?
Right. Exactly. All right. So we will see. And I will let you. So let's see. I know about Mayim and Lori, and I think I know that Kent, you're not planning to bring anyone, right, Kent? I think you're coming by yourself. Okay. Heba, did you want to bring a guest?
Yes, I would like to bring my sister who lives at 1550 as well.
Ah, great. Since she doesn't count, so that's great because she's a TCB resident. So we're talking about outside guests. So that's amazing.
The outside guest that wants to attend is my daughter, but I think it would be more convenient if she attended by Zoom because she's in Maine. Okay,
she's more than welcome to attend in person if she feels like making the schlep, but she's obviously also very welcome.
Vaccinated and yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, that I should mention, right, that everyone who comes, if I can make these arrangements, everyone needs to be vaccinated and they need to wear a mask, and so that's just sort of
She will do well. She's been vaccinated and will wear the mask.
Perfect.
But I'm
go ahead, Helen.
Offer her the choice. But my sister wants to come.
Got it. Helen Jacobson, yeah.
I have my daughter here who I would like to come.
Great.
Yeah, I was going to say my granddaughter will have one vaccine, but maybe not the second. So that's problematic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably we'll need to have her be on Zoom. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Mayim.
Are you saying that anybody who is a CCB resident doesn't count and they're allowed to come?
But they've all had shots.
Because they've all had shots. And we're not. Well, I mean, obviously, not every single, like 98 to 99% of residents have had shots. I'm just going to assume that the people who refuse to be vaccinated are not the people that are going to show up for something like this. So I'm taking that maybe too much on faith, but yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, go ahead, Ann.
I am hopefully going to have 1 or 2 people that would like to Zoom in for at least part of the service. So, but I don't have anybody that's going to show up here.
Okay, great.
People on Zoom. That's it.
That's great. Okay, Ellen, that's wonderful. Okay.
I have a question for you. Did you get my form? Because I didn't fill it out, and I just, with what's going on with my browser, I don't know if you got it.
Let's see here. Not yet. It has not come yet. But
I did it like 4 days ago.
Oh no, that's terrible. Well, then with Ellen, we can go through it again, and it'll be fine. So, all right. So right at this point, Ellen Kahn, I know that you don't want your name on the invitation. At this point, I have everyone else's name. I have everyone else's name on the. Ellen, I know about you. You don't have to worry. Thank you. Is there anyone else who does not want their name on the invitation that I post, that I send around to people at CCB? It'll be on the walls at CCB. It'll be in the emails that I send around. Is there anyone who wants to make sure their name is not on there? Go ahead, Ann.
You want our Hebrew names? Send them to you?
I will want your Hebrew names. I will want your Hebrew names for the service, but not for the poster.
Brother Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't want my name on the invitation.
Ellen, I know. You had mentioned that to me, Ellen. I'm good with that. Okay.
Jim,
go ahead, Lori.
Will the invitation go to the minion list as well?
Yeah, the invitation will go to the minion list. The only difference with that is that the one that goes to the minion list will have a different fundraising link. Yeah. But other than that, it'll be the same. Okay, so I'm going to assume that everyone is comfortable having the name. All right, great. People have to. Yes?
I don't want my name on the invitation.
No,
Ellen, I know. We're good. We're good with that. Thank you. All right. So what I will need you to send me at some point. Let me know if you want to have a version of this poster with just your name on it, so that you can send it to your people, or you can just send the one that is the general one to everybody. So people can let me know if they want a personal one with just their name on it, so they can send it around to people. Please let me know, and I'll get that to you.
No, thank you, from Ellen Sorrell.
Okay. and if you are an HSL person and would like to send paper invitations to people who would not be able to receive an electronic one, if you have relatives or whatever, and this is true for the Harvard people as well, but I'm going to assume that most of the people and let's put it this way: if you're someone who doesn't have a printer at home and would like me to print off some copies and would like me to get you some for HSL people, I can get you also envelopes, donation envelopes, so people don't have to donate online if they don't want to. So please let me know if you would like that, because if I don't know, then I won't be able to get it to you. Okay.
Now I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
About the donations. What is the direction that those donations are going towards?
To pay for what's going on.
I think it'll be directed to CCB Jewish programming.
Okay.
So it'll be
to to support
the programs. Right.
And, okay.
Right, exactly. Because right now, for instance, I'm actually just putting together the budget for next year, right? And obviously we had, you know, unlike a lot of the other parts of the organization, COVID meant that my budget basically was not used this year, with the exception of the intern. So,
but that doesn't
next
mean
year
it's going to remain the same going forward.
Exactly. And for as long as we're doing these hybrid services, and and maybe we'll go down to having services at CCB twice a month as opposed to every week. But I would love, as soon as it's kosher, I would love to be able to have food for a little kiddish afterwards. And that costs money. So obviously we need to, the administration gives me some money, but I've also raised money in the past and would like to continue to do so. So this would give me that opportunity.
To know if any contributions should be written with a direction, or if they was going to be.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So it should be, so it should go to CCB Jewish Programming. And I will, I'll include that on the, I'll include that in the thing. That would make sense. Yeah. Go ahead, Maya.
Here's a thought. If we're going to mail out these invitations, which I want to do, and with a donation envelope that's very nice, if CCB has some other piece they would like to include, I'm going to be doing this mailing anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me talk to the marketing and development and see what they would like to include, because the little poster I made is a single sider, so we could conceivably print them with that kind of information on the other side.
Yeah. It seems from your questionnaire that they would like to use this for their PR work, and it's a really good thing to use. So. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm going to send this out to like 30 people in my family and stuff.
Exactly. This is
people.
I would love
well,
to
some people have A, big networks, or B, big families, or both, right? So and so the next thing is pictures. So I have pictures. I got picture of Kent as a kid. I don't know if I got pictures of anyone else, but if you have pictures of yourselves as children, it would be amazing to have that, as a kind of a collage, and as well as a picture of yourself, in your current incarnation would be great as well.
Where do we send that?
If they are electronic, you can send them to me by email. If you don't have
one of them will not be electronic, but I can take a picture of the picture and send it to you.
Right. So what I recommend, the easiest way to do that is to bring the picture to Gail or Marina or Amanda, and or to me, and then we can scan it on the copy machine directly into my computer, and which is very convenient. And Fred, if you have paper pictures, you can bring them to Donna and ask her to scan them on the copy machine at Fireman.
Okay, so my childhood picture, I'll bring it to Gail to have her scan it and send it to you.
That'd be great.
Today's picture is electronic, so I'm good with that.
Great. Perfect. And my advice to you for pictures, hold on one second. My advice for you for pictures, okay, thanks, Kent. I think you've done everything, Kent. She was the first one to fill out the form.
Rabbi Jim? Rabbi Jim?
Yes, Ellen? Yes. Okay. When she comes back, she'll tell me what she wants. What I recommend is not to use a selfie for the picture of today. Find somebody to take a picture of you. Selfies almost never, unless you're a really accomplished selfie maker, they just look like selfies.
How do I get a paper copy of a picture to you?
I'm going to be coming to Cambridge in the coming weeks, Ellen, to pick up some copies of the prayer book. So we have more copies of the prayer book in Skyline for the service than what we've got currently. And it'll probably be a Thursday afternoon. So when that happens, I will call you and come by. Does that sound good?
That's great.
Okay.
That's great.
Great.
I haven't been able to get hold of the one with me with a dog. If I get, it'll supersede the paper one.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Go ahead, Anne.
Bye-bye. I have to go.
You got to go. Okay. All right. Bye-bye, Lori. And then the last. Oh, you're just waving an hand. Great. Okay, good. And the other thing that I had thought about doing, and I'm hoping to do it, is to use to make a little film with interviews with you about this process as a kind of a social media thing. So just which would double sort of as a little bit of feedback for me. What works, what could have been better. Some of the, like Mayim's suggestion at the beginning of the hour, which obviously is very technical, but is still relevant. Like, it would have been helpful to have on my emails, right, an indication of what the topic was going to be, so that when we went back, right, we could search by topic rather than just have everything that had to do with B'nai Mitzvah, which was something I didn't think of, which would have been really great. So if I'm going to send an email to everybody asking if that's possible, and I'll try to figure out, like Ellen Soro, like that, maybe that day that I come by, I can interview you then, on camera, so to speak. And Fred, the next time I come down, I'm thinking, Fred, that I might be able to come down to Fireman next Thursday, or Friday, depending on how things work out. And I could interview you then, if that works, Fred.
Sure.
Okay, great.
So
I'll send everyone a note. Say it again, Alan.
I have a bunch of medical appointments, so I want to go through my date book and see if anything will,
Yeah. So with you, Ellen, I was thinking about the following Thursday, which would be the 3rd. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Thursday is the 5th.
The 3rd of June.
Oh. Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, great.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Lovely. Okay, good. So we'll try to figure that out. Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the reason I asked about the media, and this is really mostly relevant to people who are HSL types. I would love to know, and I'm going to have to call obviously a few people who are, because we only have a few of the HSL types here. But one of the things that that HSL likes to do with these types of programs is to figure out which town you came from, and if there's a local paper in that town, that they would send the press release to that press organ. So Heather, like you were out, which town? What would be your local?
I don't want that.
You were not interested in that. That's great. But Fred, I know you came from Sharon. Mine, would that be something you'd be interested in doing?
I don't mind. I guess it would be Brookline though. So probably.
Oh, it would be Brookline. So yeah. So we're hoping that the Brookline Tab reporter will write the story. Actually.
Yeah, I bet they will.
Usually Brookline Tab wants us to write it, which we do, but it always feels a little better if it's someone who's not. It's when it's actually not just a press release.
My childhood newspaper was the New York Times.
There we go. I'm sure the Times is going to be all over it, Ellen, because we are newsworthy as hell. I'll tell you that. So.
A lot of Jewish people there.
Exactly. All right, good. So are there any other logistical questions that people who are still on the call have and are worried about?
Yes, I don't want to talk to press.
Great.
I don't want my name in the press. It's not that I'm a fugitive or anything, but
no.
This is a private experience, and it's within my community. I really
absolutely.
Okay.
Right. No, that's completely fine. No one's name. If someone doesn't want their name in the press, it definitely does not need to be. If there's a picture that goes out and it's a sort of a group picture, you might be in the picture, but that's
fine. But I don't want to be singled out or mentioned or yeah.
I feel the same way, Jim.
I spent time.
Okay, great.
I spent time in Idaho, in Coeur d'Alene, which I didn't know as a 6-year-old was the neo-Nazis.
Oh my God.
They were also my step family, and I didn't know that. It was an interesting experience.
Quite, I can only imagine. Well, hopefully they're not quite as neo-Nazi now as they were then.
No, but that's still where they have a presence.
Yes, I'm sure. But it would be interesting to see if the paper out there was interested in that. Since you don't live in HSL, probably the HSL, the publicity people probably will not pursue it.
Just take the gun, get rid of that woman,
Oh yeah, Ellen, awful.
Listen,
all right.
I was made to shoot. It was not a good experience. That's all I can
No, I can imagine. Yeah.
I have to go.
All right.
Shalom.
All right, sounds good, Fred.
Shalom.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too. Thank you very much. And okay. And if you let me know when you're going to come to Randolph, okay?
Yes, I'll definitely let you know. Good.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Shalom.
All right. So do people have questions about Hebrew?
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Where did Lori go?
Lori disappeared.
But Lori, she
left us. She was here and she left.
I just, if you speak to her at some point, I want to say thank you. She surprised me by saying that she would have me walk with her or.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know her, but I am very grateful. I mean, that was amazing.
She really is an incredibly generous person.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that she made that offer.
Yeah.
So. All right, great. I can connect you if you'd like, Ellen. Would you like me to connect you by email?
No, because I can't actually do that. I haven't been able to get to Susan, and at this point, it's right. I'm not going to worry about it. I've got other things like what am I?
Yeah, you got plenty. You got plenty to worry about. Absolutely.
I'm going to be leaving, but good. Thank you
for
this.
So sounds good, Helen. All right, talk to you soon.
Helen,
yes.
If you need anything, of X, Y, and Z, you know you can get to. Yeah.
All right, so everybody hold on. I forgot the most important thing. Helen, wait one moment.
Sure.
I was supposed to ask everybody, but I left it to the end, so I forgot. Which is that on Wednesday, June 9th, we are going to be able to have, there's a block of immersion possibilities. Wednesday, June 9th.
Oh.
It could be Wednesday, June 9th is the best day to go to Mayim Chaim as a group and immerse. So if you're interested, we could also do it on the 8th, but I wouldn't be able to be there. So,
I can't go on the 8th.
So it has to be the.
Okay.
But we could do it so that Rachel was there on the 8th and I was there on the 9th, and or both of us were there on the 9th. That'd probably be possible.
And I can transport 4 people.
Oh wow! Okay, great.
Since we're in the neighborhood.
All right. So Ellen, do you have any interest in that, Ellen Thoreau?
I think not.
Okay, and I saw Helen Jacobson shake her head. Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure, so thank you.
That's completely fine. All right, great. Now you can be dismissed, Ellen. Okay, all right.
Thanks.
So please please let me know if I need to pick someone up or where we can coordinate.
Well, I will let everyone else know that this is a possibility. But at this point, we know that you and Mayim will go on the 9th, and we'll figure out the timing.
I could go with you, Heva?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Heva, right. And Rachel and I can probably both make it on that day, which would be amazing. And I should immerse too, because it's my bar mitzvah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So
you haven't done your bar mitzvah before?
No.
Well, I converted. I converted to Judaism as a 30-year-old. So actually, I think it was 32 even, maybe. So.
But you haven't had a chance to do this ceremony either?
Right. So I never did an adult bar mitzvah. I sort of became a rabbi before I was completely Jewish. Usually people become Jewish and they live as Jews for a while. I became Jewish and almost immediately started rabbinical school. So
would your parents come for your?
Yeah, they would come. They would come, but I think they're going to be in Nantucket. So I'll let them be on Zoom.
And the dogs?
The dogs will not be there. The dogs, and they won't come to the mitzvah. And the dogs won't come to the mitzvah either. Well, I'll bring them on Thursday. Oh,
that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Keep them on leash.
Exactly.
So keep me posted in terms of timing, but I will block the time out on the 9th. On the 9th, you said.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Exactly. Yeah.
Great. I'll look forward to it.
All right, good. So Mayim or Heva, any questions on Hebrew that you'd like to address?
Before you get to Hebrew, if I can print the form you sent and get it to you on paper.
Yeah, or yes, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Or you can when you talk to Rachel next, you can go through it and she can fill it in for you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Sounds
this
good.
was fun.
I have another question.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. Yeah, this is like planning a wedding, without a bridezilla.
I have a question about the mikvah.
I'll see you this evening.
All right, see you soon, Ellen.
What time of day are you planning to do this?
Say it again.
On the 9th, with the mikvah.
What time of day?
Yes.
Oh, I don't. No fixed time, so we can more or less work around your schedule if you have limitations.
I do.
At this point,
I have to walk my dog by 3:30. So if we can do it if we can be back here to the building by 3:30, then
I'm thinking that something would the way it has to work is you can't do the preparations at the Mitzvah right now. Maybe that'll change by June 9th, but it probably won't. So you have to do all your preparations at home in terms of showering and making sure all your, you have no polish on your nails and, all that kind of stuff. You take care of that at home, and then we go and the immersion happens right away. So I'm thinking that we would do something around like 1 o'clock. And that way we'll have plenty of time, because I need to be back by 3 o'clock myself to do Jewish learning that day. So,
okay.
So
maybe we should consider doing it a little earlier than 1 o'clock.
I mean, somewhere between late morning and early afternoon is what I really would like to do. I think
that would be probably better, just in case, there's always
There's always a problem.
Yeah, margin
exactly.
of error.
There's always trouble. Yeah, and obviously I will offer to the rest of the group. But Ellen Kahn and Sandy definitely won't want to do it. It's too far for Kent, so I don't think there's going to be that many people. I should say that there are these will be at a discount. There is a suggested donation to the mikveh.
When I converted, I went there before my
conversion. Oh, great.
And in fact, my conversion was held there.
Oh, how wonderful! Oh, that's great. Yeah. See, I was too eager. So I converted before Mayim Chaim existed.
The Bet Din met there.
Yeah, right. That's what we do. That's what I tend to do. Actually, it was funny. I did a Beit Din. First time I ever did this, because of COVID, we couldn't do the Beit Din at Mayim Chaim. So I did the Beit Din at Zoftig's, outside of Zoftig's.
Well, it works.
Whatever works. Yeah. Go ahead, Mayim.
So back to the donation idea. You'd think I'd know this, but all I remember from, when I was a kid, and then when I got to college, it was like, oh, Reform Judaism is just like liberal humanism. But right. As a kid, we had tzedakah boxes, but is there a certain way that donations are presented in Judaism, like in Japanese culture, which in some ways I know better than Jewish culture?
Yeah,
it's very formal. There's certain types of envelopes, and it's wrapped, and you offer it a certain way. And is there anything like that?
I'm not familiar with that. But what's very often the case is that you give tzedakah at shul every day except for Shabbos.
But in this case, so you don't go to Mayim Chaim. You didn't say how much it might be, but is it cash or a check? Or
it can be cash or a check. The traditional. Now these will be at a discount because we're going to be joining. But so if there's financial hardship, right? Then you can be very direct with them and with me. But the traditional is $90. For immersion, and I think because we're in the process of joining, there's a certain we get them for a reduced rate.
You mean HSL is joining or Hillel is joining?
HSL, I'm having HSL join Mayim Chaim, so that for instance, our chaplains can immerse. As part of, as a member organization, basically.
Nice.
So we will have a reduced rate. But I don't know if it might be $75 or something like this, but we'll figure that out. Yeah.
So I'll make sure.
Right, so I'll figure out.
I'll bring my checkbook.
Right, and you can also do it over the internet, which is now become
too, because that way I can have a receipt.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, good. So we will. So I will call the other folks and see if they want to do an immersion, and we'll see how many. And that's great, Heather, that you have room in your van.
Well, it's not a van; it's an SUV, but it's a large SUV.
Yeah, you can carry 4 other people. Yeah, so
4 other people, but it's more comfortable if it's 3 others. You know,
right, got it.
Depending on the size of the person, because the 4th person would be in the middle on the hump, as it were. There's no hump.
Right, exactly.
And there's seat belts for everyone, but no.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to think of the people who are here. I'm guessing that it would most likely be Anne who would be interested. And I don't know about Lois because she wasn't with us today. So Rachel will have to ask Lois, but I'll ask Anne. I'll call her right now.
Okay.
All right. So Mike, I'm going to ask one more time.
My only request is that everyone be vaccinated.
Oh yeah, but I would only have you take people from here. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I'll ask one more time about Hebrew, and then I'll hang up.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm good.
You're good. Awesome. All right. Sounds great.
All right. Thank you for just a sec, but say goodbye to Hava.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
All right, Hava. So we should meet up for a walk sometime. Send me your phone number or something.
I just texted you.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.
So I didn't realize that Hava's at 1550. That's great. So we're going to meet up.
Yeah.
But as far as the Hebrew goes, Rabbi Jim, so I'm really happy learning the prayer book Hebrew. You know, I just love that. And Sherry's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of discouraged on that that textbook we have. Like I'm just getting lost in the 4 different forms of, everything and participle. And I have no ambition to actually speak Hebrew at this point.
Right.
So I don't know.
But just to read it.
Yeah. I mean, if we go on studying and we do a further course, I'm willing to come back to the textbook. But I think for now, it's not really furthering what I want to do so much.
Right. I mean, and I think that, let me just remind myself.
That's a complicated grammar there.
Hebrew is not the simplest language. It's not the hardest language, but it's not the simplest either. And the real reason to go through the book is so that, because what it does do is it introduces you to various bits of the liturgy so that when you get to those bits of the liturgy in services, you already have it. Oh, I know this one. Oh yeah, and so what I would recommend is not to burden yourself with trying to learn the grammar. Like, who cares? You learn the grammar, you don't learn the grammar. It doesn't really matter, right? Really, the point is to be able to make sense of what's going on in the prayer book without having to constantly shift your eyes over to the translation, right? Yeah. So, for instance, like, so if you look,
like maybe I learned the vocabulary lists.
Right. So I was going to say, I think where you were.
I'm like in prepositions in chapter 9 now.
Okay, let's go. So chapter 9 is great. Is a great example. So page 72. Okay. So the oral exercises are definitely worth going through, right? Just to sort of get yourself used to decoding and making the sounds and remembering, at least passively, right, what these words mean, right? And you may not remember, but don't worry about it. You don't remember what no tenant means? It's not a big deal. The main thing is that you're reading it.
I'm looking that up right now. Right. Giving. Yeah. Leah is
right.
giving.
So Leah is giving.
Leah is giving.
Right.
Ani holecha. I am going.
Right. I am going, exactly. Right.
So
and again, like translating is not so necessary that, you know, because the goal eventually is reading, not translating, if that distinction makes sense.
Yeah, and I think if I just know enough of the words like Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, it's like,
exactly.
Oh, Beitecha, that's some plural, all your houses, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm getting that.
Right, exactly, and that's really what matters. And so, like, you know, so this book presents much more than you need for the goals that you have. It's very helpful for someone, say, like me, when I went through it and I really wanted to understand the grammar, not because I ever had in mind that I was going to speak prayer book Hebrew, right? But so that I could really thoroughly understand, you know, what I was reading at a level that is not necessary for someone who's not going to rabbinical school. And so, so you would do the vocabulary, right? Like on page 73, because these words are like these are the words that show up again and again and again. And you know, as you probably have already noticed, Hebrew has a relatively small treasury of words, right? And the prayer book has even fewer, right? Because there's obviously, you know, many words that we don't use in the prayer book.
And then probably the end of each chapter, where like this chapter, it's Ein Keloheinu. So
exactly. So I would just skim the grammatical part, and with the primary goal of sort of having some vague idea of, well, what is a preposition in Hebrew, so that when you run across a phrase in the prayer book and you're kind of interested in knowing what it means, you're like, wait, why is it that way? I don't get that. Maybe you could actually come back then, right, and have a look here and say, why is it, you know, bavite, right? If you look at page 75, right? Well, wouldn't it be bavite? And you can see, and then you can see, oh, bavite, right? Bavite is in a house. It's in a house, not in the house. So if it's in the house, it's bavite, and if it's in a house, right, it's bavite. Now you don't really need to know that, right? It's not super important, but if you end up interested in a question like that, you know, now you'll have some place of like, oh, that's where it is. And then I wouldn't bother with the exercises. I really wouldn't, unless you feel like you really want to learn them. When you want a mental workout, it's like gymnastics for the brain. It is. So it's good for your brain, but it might not be exactly what you want to do, right? So then use the Ein Keloheinu, right? And this one is actually really great. It says, see if you can translate this, right? So Ein Keloheinu, right? So what does Ein mean? Ein, you know, Ein is on page 78, right? And you know, and then Nodeh, I don't know where Nodeh is in this book, but oh yeah, it's right on top. We give thanks, right? So Le'Eloheinu, Nodeh Le'Eloheinu, right? So we will give thanks. And what does Lamed here mean? You know, prepositions obviously are, you know, difficult to translate. Like, there's no one-to-one correspondence between languages and prepositions. To the dismay of language students everywhere, right? So this is in this case, Lamed is to, right? So we give thanks to our God, and so on and so forth. And the other ones you can probably figure out. So that's how I would use this book, and avoid if you can, these thickets of grammar that are just going to make you crazy.
So
and raise all kinds of
teaching me the order to look at things in too, like on that page 83, the first round of verses is the Ein Kelohenu. Then you go to the left, then you go down one, the Mi Kelohenu. So actually I was looking at the Ein Kelohenu when we were talking about prayers to do and doing different prayers, because I do love that prayer too. But maybe that's one that the rabbi always leads, or I don't know.
But it's one that I have a very bouncy song for. So unless you feel like singing, it's probably not the best one. But if you want to lead it in song, then that would be great. But it's not one that
the way my dad sang it. I think it's a little different than yours.
Probably. I sing it this way where we alternate the Hebrew and the Ladino, the Sephardic language. But if you could sing it according to your dad's tune, that would be fine. It's completely fine with me. If you feel like you can get up there and belt it out, I'm all for it.
I don't know how belting I am. I was losing my voice. I actually almost totally lost it a few months ago. And
wow.
I just started voice therapy, and I'm supposed to have something that I practice on every day so that it becomes the thing that I warm up my voice on. So I have Ashrei in my backpack, right? And I said, well, here's
awesome.
I'm working on every day. So how about we make that my voice exercise?
That's incredible. That's such a wonderful story. I can maybe this I can take for the for our little if you don't mind, acknowledging to the world that you've got this problem with your voice, but that's such a wonderful spiritual practice.
It really is.
I wish I said Ashrei every day. That would be amazing. But
it's such a great prayer. But I really do love the Ein Kelohenu too, because what I love the most are just the pure praise songs,
Yes, right, exactly. It's funny because a lot of people really don't like the pure praise songs, but
really,
it's funny that it's a lot of Jews are what's the word? They can be very suspicious of anybody needing that much praise. Why does God? If God is so great, why does He need all that praise? And I always try to say, God. I don't think really God needs the praise. I don't think it's not really about God. It's more about us. Expressing our sort of cosmic gratitude. And sort of acknowledging the grandeur of the world, and it can take a while to get to that place of really being revved up sufficiently to pray, and that's why we do all this stuff,
right?
And but people don't buy it.
That's funny.
Very funny. So that's what I would say. And then, obviously, you know Japanese, so grammar, and there's probably in a way, you're the kind of language learner where less would actually be more. I often find that in language study, people tend to underdo grammar, and then leaving people completely. Like for when I learned Hebrew, I didn't initially learn it with grammar. I just learned it from the primer and then into the prayer book. And I had so many questions about the grammar that were just bugging me. And then when I finally learned the grammar, I was like, why didn't someone just tell me that? It would have been so much easier for me than all these Baroque theories I came up with in my mind about, but anyway, but I think, but you're probably getting caught in these thickets because, grammar is something you get. So, All right. Any other questions?
Nope. I'm good.
All right.
Well.
Great. All right. Good, Maya. Thank you. And we'll be at Goldman tonight, so we probably will not welcome you in person, but
right. Oh, but I wanted to ask you about your Sunday. Okay, I think got all the questions answered about the Sunday program, and hopefully they are going to publicize it a bit more, because not everybody gets your bulletin, but I want everybody to get it because of the fourth Monday Soul Search on the environmental stuff, you know?
Right. Usually Laura puts everything on that's in my bulletin. She usually puts everything in her weekly bulletin. But if
I think she misses a lot of them. I'm not seeing much on that Soul Search, so. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will need then to make some copies. I will investigate right now to see if she put it in her.
Okay.
Did you get the weekly? Did you get the weekly yet?
Yeah, it came out in email. She might have it this time. I'm not sure. But like last week, you know, she said it was coming up, and then she said, see the Friday bulletin for details. That's not enough for people to know that they want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the problem, is that, you know, there's so much stuff. I put it on Touchdown in all of the buildings. So
great.
So anyone who's walking around and notices Touchdown will see it. But that obviously is not everybody.
Yeah. Let me see. I'll take a look at her program guide here.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Oh, it's there.
She's got Monday. See the Sunday, watch it on Sunday together. I don't know if that ever got out.
Oh man, that's right. Because she has everything. Oh boy. Right. So she can. So right. So she has it. People can watch the movie because if they have Canopy, but they won't know about the Sunday. So the Sunday thing is on. The Sunday screening is on. I mean, honestly, I am doing the Sunday screening for two reasons. First of all, as a placeholder to give myself time to watch the movie. Yeah. And second of all, because Sandy and Ellen really can't manage to watch it on their own. They can't figure it out.
Oh, okay.
So Jean was really skeptical. Like, why do we even need to have a screening? Can't people just watch it on their computers? And which is true, but the fact of the matter is there are people like Sandy and Ellen for whom the technology is really challenging. And so like the fact that they can do Zoom is like pretty amazing. Yeah. And so, and asking them to do Canopy is just above what they can manage.
Well, I thought I would join you, and I don't know when else I would watch it anyway.
Well, that's right. That was my thing. If I don't set a time, I'm not going to do it.
Right. So we'll tune into your Zoom room, but then don't we lose some quality in picture and sound if you're showing it's a PBS, right? Or you're going to show it from Canopy and then share.
I'll show it from Canopy.
You'll do it through a share screen on Zoom?
Yeah, I'll do it through a share screen. It won't be the sound should be fine. The visual might not be quite.
Yeah, sometimes it degrades a bit. If it does, I'll go out and just.
Yeah, if it does, you'll just sign off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and also the other person I do it for is, I don't know if she'll join, but I've done is the member of the Minion, Marsha Hutton, who's blind, and it's easier for her to do something she can get onto Zoom without a problem, and then she can just listen to the movie as opposed to having to figure it out on her own. So I don't know if she'll join for this because it's not a Minion event, but we'll see. But I'll put up at least in at least in Dinesh, I'll try to put up a poster in the elevators.
Oh, great. And then the Soul Search is actually going to be in person downstairs at Cohen on Monday. So I'll plan to come just to see who comes in person. And
right. And I've gotten much better now at managing hybrid programs. So you should be able to enjoy it in the community room and not have to go back to your own room, which is what you had to do last time.
Yeah, because it was so far off, you know, the image was the whole room. Is that going to be different? Or I was just thinking, should I bring my laptop down?
Well, what it's going to be is that next time I will be facing you. I'll be facing whatever the group is in the room. I'll be facing them, and I'll have my computer in front of me so I can see the other people, and my screen will be mirrored on the big screen so that you can see everyone else that's in the room, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and we'll have 2 cameras so that everyone else can see me and everyone else can see the people in the room, as long as they're in camera range. So,
hey, and
go ahead.
Last time we had Stuart Rickstein joined in on Plastic Wars, and I didn't really connect with him, but hopefully he'll come again.
Yeah, hopefully he'll come again.
He's newly moved from 1550 to 112.
Exactly.
And,
that would be great.
He was into the environmental stuff over there at 1550. Yeah. So I want to get him into the little group here. And
that'd be great. That'd be great.
That environmental stuff, we don't have anything happening at Dinesh so far.
No.
I know there's a bunch of people interested, but I don't know how to get to them or get them together.
Yeah, and I don't think, I know Marion Weissman had agreed to do it, but the reality is that I think she has too many other things going on.
Yeah.
So I think she's not going to be ultimately into it, but I guess we can't take it away from her until she says she can't do it. So, but I'm leaving that to James. That's above my pay grade. That's in James.
Yeah. So, James was going to talk to her. So
good.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Sounds good, man. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Everything.